Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to another Pallavi Market Research video. Today, I want to talk to you about why it may be a more ethical choice to avoid paying taxes than to simply capitulate and pay them. And in order to frame this conversation, I want to start with a quote from one of my favorite filmmakers, Adam Curtis. I heard him say in an interview once that our individual reactions to what our government does with its military is one of the most interesting things about our time. And I agree with him because as Americans today, we anticipate that our government will directly or indirectly supply arms to terrorists. We know that our government will continue to carelessly authorize drone strikes, regardless of the fact that it's been widely known for a long time now that 9 out of 10 people drone strikes kill are just innocent men, women, and children. And if you don't believe me, you can go to check out this website where the data and the sources are as good as it gets. And honestly, my gut tells me you guys probably wouldn't even be shocked to hear that that's true. And doesn't that numbness to facts like this illuminate a pretty dark reality that we're all living in? Because the reality is, we actually just accept that our government has to do the wrong thing simply because it is normal. It is simply what we are accustomed to. We concede because however much we feel that this is wrong, we know nothing is going to change. We have given up completely. But the passive concession to this reality places us in a much more precarious ethical and moral position than is currently being understood or talked about, especially in the context of taxes. We do this because at the individual level, for the most part, we're actually quite civilized and peaceful. Yet we are exhausted because fundamentally we are marginalized and our patience is continuously taken advantage of. So we just sit here and hope that someone will figure this all out. But this problem I'm touching on has now escalated and become a full blown crisis. And there's no one I see who is in any position to solve it or even interested in solving it. And what makes this even worse is that we all unconsciously understand this hard reality that no peaceful individual can defeat a group that defends itself through violence. Some of us may try to advocate for this higher reality while also acknowledging that evil does exist, the vulnerable should be protected, and that our nation's military is actually storied with heroic action. All of that is true. But two things can be true at once. And it certainly doesn't mean that guys like Jocko are at all correct when they sit there on Joe Rogan or Modern Wisdom re-emphasizing this fact that evil does exist and that it's then someone's responsibility to go deal with that. But a small child has the capacity to point out to Jocko, or the hawkish Navy SEALs like him, that if they were born in Libya and their parents were killed by a drone strike, they wouldn't grow up and join the US military to fight evil. Good versus evil is a highly relative thing, and the Bible, I believe, teaches us very clearly that it is not our domain as human beings to determine which is which, given its relative nature. Claiming knowledge over that one single issue is literally what kicked us out of Eden. So people like this, people like Jocko, and I only single him out because he's revered by all forms of media right now. But guys like this are forced to engage in the classical fallacies of our time, namely moral licensing, appeals to consequences, and appeals to traditions. Saying stupid shit over and over again, like, this is how we've always done things, if I don't, someone else will, and if they're doing it, why shouldn't we? But again, small children have the capacity to see through this, and not from some naive worldview either. Maybe our technological advantage, foreign policies, and national interests since, say, Vietnam have all contributed to fading any moral standing we once had. And if that has happened, maybe it actually happened decades ago. But yet, we go to our politicians knowing they lack the power to do the things we need them to do, while also knowing they have an overwhelming surplus of resources and technology that they actively hide from us. Go open a tab right now and pull up Patrick Bet-David's video on classified patents. It is clear they are hiding technologies from us that can better our world substantially, and yet they still try to raise taxes on us while massively and now consistently inflating away our purchasing power? To use Elon Musk's description, the United States is a giant ship with a tiny rudder that continues to show an inability to change its ways and orient itself towards peace and cooperation, instead of only pretending to do so. We literally spend hundreds of billions of dollars fueling wars like Ukraine that have nothing to do with us. And these are decisions being made right now. We could be investing into our country, but there are agendas at work that directly contradict what the American people want and need. I believe this reality that I'm describing has already settled in the minds of a highly unrepresented American majority that believes that there is an opportunity to challenge the things we were once forced to accept. It is my belief that until the citizens of the United States are given the constitutional right to choose how, say, a third of their taxes are used, it is unethical to not actively avoid paying your taxes as an American. And for further context, since 1930, roughly 25 cents of every one tax dollar has been spent on the military, these intelligence agencies, and whatever flipped up things they hide from us. So to passively continue to fuel this version of our military's influence in the world, guys, is probably no longer a humane default position. And is anything I'm saying actually even controversial anymore? Because to disagree, you kind of have to submit that you as an individual agree that it is justifiable to murder 9 innocent people for every one evil person. Like, seriously, sit here for a second and imagine the collection of events that would have to happen to you to occur in your life for you to feel justified in actually murdering another human being. Now, imagine that the only path to committing that crime is to murder 9 innocent people. This horrifying reality is one that our military's leadership accepts as a reasonable and lawful ground for action, and they are not ignorant to this reality. So yeah, the time is now to consider whether or not the US military's actions are more bad than good. It's terrible, like really, really terrible to say this because there are a lot of great people that are part of this giant machine that is our military and its affiliated influences, right? And agencies. But tragically for our soldiers and our country, the actions we have taken have fallen short of their stated goals. And the military, like ours, with its sheer size and capabilities, coupled with the reality that our elected officials have effectively zero mechanisms for holding them accountable, is simply the reality of the situation. But it's important to emphasize here that this isn't anything new. Go read some history. Basically, the whole thing is about how good people inherited the legacy of bad institutions. Bad institutions that have normalized doing the wrong thing. And because those good individuals are affiliated with these machines, they're justifiably portrayed very badly in our history books. So yeah, I would love to hear someone out argue me on this one. And I would highly encourage you to come check out Puerto Rico and to stop being such a degenerate who needs to party every weekend in places like Miami, Vegas, or New York, or are too bougie to give up Whole Foods and shit like that. See you tomorrow. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for this one. Bye, guys.